The film opens up in June 1865 in Missouri with a group of comrades who serve for the Union Army. They travel on horseback to a farm owned by a guy named Jamie Hedges. The comrades deliver tragic news of Jamie's elder brother Josiah, who also served in the Union Army, saying that he is no more. Jamie is deeply hurt by the news, but he appreciates the comrades' effort to personally come all the way just to inform him of the loss. However, one of the comrades, named Harknett, reveals that there is another reason for their visit. He claims that Josiah owed him a significant debt of $500 before he died. So, Harknett demands their ancestral jewel box as compensation. This demand angers Jamie, and he vehemently rejects their request. Amidst the escalating tension, Jamie's dog continues to bark at the comrades, leading another member named Little Bill to heartlessly shoot the dog. This devastates Jamie, and he breaks down in tears. However, Harknett, who is not interested in such an emotional scene, manhandles him and demands to know the whereabouts of the jewel box. When Jamie still refuses to comply, Harknett shoots a warning bullet through his leg. Despite being injured, Jamie manages to crawl away, retrieve his pistol, and fires at Little Bill. Sadly, the bullet strikes a metal alcohol can in Little Bill's pocket, sparing him from harm. In retaliation, Harknett shoots Jamie's other leg, causing him to suffer excruciating pain. Following this, he instructs the rest of the fellow soldiers to break into the farmhouse and find the jewel box. As evening falls, Josiah, also known as Edge, who happens to be still alive, arrives at the farmhouse and is devastated to witness his younger brother being hanged to death. This fills him with intense rage, and he vows to seek vengeance. The scene then shifts to Kansas 2 months later, where Edge arrives in the town of Seward, governed by the sheriff known as Big Bill. Edge enters the town carrying his rifle and witnesses a gallows where a resident is about to be executed by hanging. Upon seeing Edge armed, one of Big Bill's henchmen, named Deputy Trickett, approaches him and demands that he hand over his rifle. Edge refuses to comply, leading Deputy Trickett to point his gun at him. Amidst this intense confrontation, the hanging is carried out as ordered by the sheriff. Just then, Edge retaliates by engaging in a fight with the henchman and then precisely shooting the rope, saving the condemned man's life. Surprisingly, instead of getting angry, Big Bill is impressed by Edge's weapon accuracy and proposes that he become his new deputy. Edge accepts the offer, seeing it as an opportunity to remain in the town and track down the former comrades responsible for his brother's death. Later on, Deputy Trickett gives him a tour of the town, where Edge notices children playing with a toy gun. This reminds him of the beautiful times when he used to teach Jamie how to handle a gun. Oh, America. A short while later, a resident named Benny, who appears to be a talented artist, offers to guide Edge to his room. Once there, Edge tosses his belongings on the bed, and Benny spots the same metal can with a bullet hole that belonged to Little Bill from earlier. Curious, Benny asks about its purpose, and Edge responds that he is searching for the owner of the can. In the evening, Edge is seen on the roof, gazing at the town and silently vowing to avenge his brother's death. Afterwards, he goes to a local bar where he engages in conversation with Deputy Trickett. He inquires about the reason behind the earlier death penalty, to which Deputy Trickett explains that the man was seen spitting in front of the sheriff. During their talk, Edge notices a picture of Big Bill with a boy and asks about the child's identity. Deputy Trickett informs him that the boy is Little Bill, the son of Big Bill. Shortly after, Little Bill's wife, Pilar, enters the bar, and everyone inside seems to be captivated by her beauty. She joins a group of men who are playing cards. Just then, a black dog enters the scene and wanders around one of the men, who responds by cruelly kicking the dog away. This act infuriates Edge, as he remembers how his dog was brutally killed some months ago. So, he confronts the group and punishes them. The same night, Edge seeks out Benny and inquires about Little Bill's whereabouts. Although hesitant at first, Benny eventually reveals the location of Little Bill's house, prompting Edge to make his way there. He stealthily enters the house through a window and cautiously approaches the bedroom, only to find Pilar with padlocked underpants. Before long, Big Bill appears from behind, claiming that he knows Edge's intentions. He then offers Edge the key to Pilar's underpants and asks him to sleep with her, but the latter strictly refuses, stating that it is not his style. He's not here to cuck, he's here to kill. Following this, the sheriff walks him out of the bedroom in order to have some private conversation. He proposes a deal. He will promote Edge to a higher position if he he forgives whatever transgression Little Bill committed against him in the past. But before Edge responds, their conversation is interrupted by a loud gunshot, prompting them to rush outside to check. As Big Bill and his men pursue the source of the gunshot, Pilar pulls Edge to a corner and reveals that she orchestrated the gunshot with Benny's help. In order to create an opportunity for a private conversation, she implores Edge to assist her in escaping the town, far away from Big Bill and his son. When Edge declines, she discloses the existence of a substantial amount of gold hidden somewhere nearby the church. This seems to be a secret that Big Bill has been searching for years. Pilar suggests that they retrieve the gold and run away from the town together. Before parting ways, she discreetly places a key in Edge's pocket, urging him to consider her offer wisely. Not long after, Big Bill returns with his son, and driven by anger, Edge contemplates attacking him immediately. However, he is captured by the henchmen and confined to a prison cell. At midnight, when the guards are asleep, Edge uses the same key provided by Pilar to unlock the cell door. He then swiftly kills the guard before heading towards Pilar. There, he inquires why she hates Big Bill so much. In response, she shockingly reveals that the sheriff has forced himself onto her in the past, and he is now looking to shift the blame onto others. After this, they resume their discussion about the hidden gold and decide to seek information from Benny, as his father was the one who melted the gold before hiding it. Here, it is revealed that Benny's father was a blacksmith, and one day while working, young Benny accidentally placed his hand in extreme flame, causing it to detach from the body and turn into precious gold. The following day, Big Bill enters the town prison, only to discover that Edge has already escaped. In addition, he finds a note on the table, instructing him to send Little Bill to a particular cliff. In the next scene, we see Edge and Benny waiting at the designated cliff when the sheriff arrives with his henchmen. Before Edge can react, some henchmen restrain him and subject him to a brutal and merciless beating. Meanwhile, the sheriff, who is now aware of the gold, has Benny apprehended. In the middle of this commotion, Edge manages to seize a gun from one of the henchmen's pockets, shoots several of them, and then leaps off the cliff. Unfortunately, he lands on a tree, with a sharp branch piercing through his abdomen, while suffering from immense pain. Little Bill shows up on top of the cliff and discloses that it was Harknett who killed Jamie. As soon as Little Bill departs, Edge summons all his strength to pull out the impaled tree branch from his body and jumps into the river below. He then swims to the shore and finds shelter in an abandoned house, where he applies herbal medicine to his wounds by himself. After some rest, Edge ventures back to the town, determined to take revenge. He first breaks into the sheriff's office and acquires some guns, including a traditional machine gun. On the other hand, Big Bill ties up Benny and forces him to spill the location of the hidden gold. The innocent guy hesitates, prompting the sheriff to threaten him with torture. At the same time, Harknett and his comrade group show up. Upon seeing their rifles, Big Bill reminds them of the town's rule to surrender their weapons before entering Seward. However, their conversation is abruptly interrupted when they notice a bomb in the air. Realizing the imminent danger, everyone becomes scared and seeks cover. Soon, the bomb detonates, and as the dust settles, they see Edge positioned behind the machine gun. Without any delay, he opens fire, killing several guards and inciting a riot. At one point, Harknett almost shoots Edge, but the restrained Benny distracts him. Unfortunately, because of this act, he is shot and killed. As the conflict continues, Harknett runs inside the sheriff's home and holds Pilar hostage. Because of this, Edge is forced to lower his weapons and comply with Harknett's order. At the same time, Big Bill shoots him from the top of the building, causing the bullet to pierce his shoulder. But despite the injury, Edge manages to grab a bomb and throw it towards Big Bill. In a state of panic, the latter gets entangled in a rope and falls off the building, leaving him hanging by his leg. Big Bill tries to shoot the rope to free himself, but he is unable to aim it. In the process, he accidentally hits a large bell, revealing a stash of gold hidden beneath it. Delighted, he shoots at the gold several times. However, his joy is short-lived, because the same black dog from earlier picks up the about-to-explode bomb and hurls it towards Big Bill.
Roll fetch, bitch.
Ultimately leading to his demise. Meanwhile, Harknett takes advantage of this distraction and escapes on his horse. An injured Edge attempts to aim at him, but Harknett is already out of range. Determined to exact vengeance, Edge mounts another horse and pursues the bad guy, pushing aside the pain from his injury. But unfortunately, he collapses midway and loses track of Harknett. Shortly afterward, a woman named Beth comes to his aid and helps him tend to his wounds. Turns out that Beth is a detective from another town, and she has been monitoring Seward for several months. After a while, Edge regains his consciousness and returns back to the town to execute Little Bill. Meanwhile, Little Bill, who is overwhelmed by the fear of Edge, thinks of committing the unthinkable by hanging himself. However, Edge arrives at the gallows just in time and shoots him multiple times before subjecting him to a brutal death by hanging. In the final scene, we see Harknett back in Missouri. There, he attends a gathering and addresses a group of elderly rich folk. He raises concerns about the rising influence of colored people, viewing it as distressing news for their state. Furthermore, Harknett proposes the idea of creating a new and systematic uprising of the former Confederate state. When the elderly folks refuse to comply, a sadistic and deranged Harknett threatens them by shooting a couple of workers. The movie ends.